And welcome inside the Backstage Pass. Of course, the final week of shows for 2023. Welcome in 2024 as we take about a two week hiatus here on the brand. As of tomorrow, of course, Ray Scott will come on the show, and then coming up this week, Skip Ewing, hit songwriter there too as well, who's written Matches for Sammy Kershaw. If I didn't have you, me and you for Kenny Chesney, and a whole lot more. Skip Ewing here on the program coming up this week, and then we'll say goodbye to 2023 and welcome in 2024 as we're presented by our friends over at Bangtail Whiskey. Get the order in now at bangtail.com. And, of course, Honky Tonk Texas out there here and powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com and out there KKTC True Country 99.9 in New Mexico and via the LMNOC streaming app. And, of course, HighTideCountry.net. Well, she's got a new song out there, too, across all the platforms. It's Christmas Time, and that's coming up next week out there, too. It's almost here, and the shopping is done for me. Thank God it's done. And pleased to welcome in Liddy Clark to the program. My friend, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. It's good to hear you got your Christmas shopping done.
Yeah,
I think I'm mostly done. So
yeah,
yes,
it was done. It was just time to be done with that too, and most of it was online. But that's the way the world has gone
yeah.
on to online shopping and of course streaming when it comes to radio. Hey, this song is fantastic, and you're no stranger to putting out Christmas tunes as you've done this, and we've talked about this on the show before. You put out a lot, but this song just has a really good feel to it, and you're a singer and a songwriter, and you write a lot of your own stuff, which I really commend you as an artist. Where did this one come from? And is this one that you had been sitting on for a while and you wanted to get out to your fans?
Yeah, so I typically solo write most of my stuff, and this one was another solo write that I did. And it's like I had the hook for this song for a long time, the Christmas time, just because it was like so catchy and it got in my head, and I knew that was a chorus I wanted to write, but I never like actually got around to writing the verses because it was always like not Christmas time, and so I wasn't feeling super inspired to write about Christmas time. But then this past year, like kind of in June, July, I was like, you know what? I really want to put out like a really happy Christmas song because I've put out a couple of covers over the past years and they're all very lovely, but they're not like super like joyous, go lucky kind of pop happy songs. And so I wanted to put out something that was more exciting and happy and brought more joy. And I'm just really excited to have an original Christmas song out there now. I'm having my Mariah Carey moment. And it's lovely.
I love this song. It's beautiful out there too. And people that haven't heard it, go download it right now. Hey, go take me back. We're gonna go a little timeline, a little kind of a catalog of songs, a little chronology here too. Potential comes out in August of 22, if my memory serves me correct. And this is a song that really kind of took I will say the fans by storm, and this was kind of I won't say the beginning, but because you had some stuff out there here, but this song really made me kind of draw into Liddy Clark, the artist, too, at the same time, and the authenticity. Kind of remind fans who have not heard that song just what this one was all about and the storytelling behind this one.
Absolutely. Yeah. Potential. That's still one of my favorite songs I've written to this day. So it's really nice that you particularly like that stood out to you. I wrote that song kind of from a place of, self-doubt and anxiety and kind of the quarter life crisis I feel like I've been going through for the past 5 years or so, and just kind of figuring out exactly what I'm trying to do with my life. What's my purpose? Who am I as a person? And this song is talking about kind of going through all of those stages of questioning and feeling shameful that you haven't gotten where other people have gotten yet. And you keep comparing yourself to other people, but it's really just about figuring out what matters to you, what your values are, and implementing those values into your daily life. I think that's something that I've worked on for the past couple of years, and it's been going well. And I think Potential is just sort of the existential crisis song of like, oh, what if all I'm going to be is the potential of what I was when I was younger? Like it's kind of the gifted kid syndrome of like, you grow up and you're like, oh, this kid is like really smart. We're going to put him in the really fast, like advanced classes. And then, you move on up and you're like, oh, maybe this isn't what I want to do. And then you're still doing it. And it's like, okay, but is this really where my life is supposed to be? And yeah, it's a lot of questioning. It's a lot of wondering. It's a lot of feeling inadequate, but ultimately just kind of releasing that and having it out into the world really just like kind of took my inner monologue and put it to words, put it aside, and now it's no longer like living and rattling around in my head all the time. So
Well, I love the artistry too. We're gonna get to the album coming up here in a little bit too, and just how fantastic of a songwriter you are. But I always love to ask this question too because I get a lot of the great female artists, and I really haven't seen a movement like this probably for me, at least because I grew up on '90s country, and I love '90s country so much too because that was my era growing up. Yeah, I'm showing my age now, but at the same time, to me, it was. I don't know if ever an era from late '80s to early '90s will ever be duplicated in this industry. It may not, and it might. You never know. But there's so many great female artists doing their thing out there. They're becoming their own artists. They're putting out great songs. We've seen this run that Lainey Wilson has been on for the previous 3 years. I remember talking to Lainey December of 2020 on this very show and talking about how the rise was going to come quick and potential, no pun intended, but that was the title of the song, that she was going to come up there and do her thing. Talk about, and maybe the fans need to hear this too, the challenges you face as a female artist in this industry.
Yeah, I mean, it's something you don't really think about until you kind of see the statistics in front of you as well. I mean, like most festival lineups are men at this point, and also just most people who are like executives in the industry are men as well. And so men tend to relate to men more, and then men want to sign more men, and then it's just like kind of an inadequacy, inequality actually in the business of like who's signed to labels, who's signed to majors, and it's tough actually, just trying to prove that I'm not just some emotional like girl writing about all of my sad things that nobody else is going to want to hear about because it's like only applicable to me. And yeah, it's difficult kind of trying to convince, other men that what I have to say is important sometimes, but then there's folks who actually do listen, and then there's folks that, join the team and join the cause and really kind of like vocalize how they feel about the music and how it makes other people feel is super important. And yeah, I just think that you keep going, you keep persisting, you hear no a lot more than you hear yes, and eventually you will hear a yes, especially if you work hard and you're talented and you really try and put yourself out there for those opportunities. And that's something that I really pride myself on trying to do as much of as possible.
I love that too. Talk about your songwriting. I want to dive into that a little bit more because you get an idea. Maybe it comes through the personal experience, having lived it to be able to write it down, or that fantasy. Sometimes you'll think about something and you kind of get a hook and get the idea, and then start putting pen to paper. What goes on in the Liddy Clark mindset of songwriting? What's your favorite part?
Yeah, so I love most parts of songwriting. It's why I do it constantly. But it does come from, a lot of experiences that I've lived. Like if it's something that I've personally experienced, I am such an emotional person already. Like I have a hard time keeping my emotions from like showing all the time, but being able to like put it down in song and being able to write it down is super helpful. I've been getting into journaling over the past couple of years. And so I like journal mostly every night, and being able to practice writing out my feelings and practice writing out like what I've been experiencing has been super helpful to write down exactly like what's going on in these songs. But I also write songs about things that I haven't experienced, or things that I've seen in like a movie or read about in a book, or I've heard my friends complain about. Like I love listening to my friends' drama because I can usually pull something from it to write a song. Hence, we both know actually was from a friend's drama. That wasn't a situation I've actually ever been in. But yeah, no, it's wonderful just to kind of explore those ideas, even if I haven't necessarily been there, and just working through the right way to melodically say something as well as rhythmically, and what makes sense together, what creates like an interesting hook in comparison to a verse, and how to kind of organize the whole structure of the song. It's really art, and I love creating it. I love kind of figuring out what exactly feels best to me. And it will maybe take me like an hour or two to write a song like for a first draft, but then I'm like going back to that draft consistently and being like, okay, this one line feels a little weird. Like I want to change one word here, but I'm not quite sure what I want it to be. And then I'll just kind of rewrite the line like multiple times and eventually figure it out. So I love the editing process. I love working it down in the first place. I love the recording process of it. It's all just really incredible, just getting to put out something that came from my mind and making it into not necessarily a physical, piece of art, but it is a audible piece of art. So I think that's pretty cool.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got to call that audible here on the Backstage Pass here right now. Take the timeout. Conversation's going very well, too, but got to pay those bills. Liddy knows how that goes here on a podcast, that kind of thing. Our friends at Bangtail Whiskey, bangtail.com. Get your order in now, too, as well. 90 proof corn mash. It's just delicious and definitely something goes down well, too, and it'll get rid. I'll tell you this, you got a sore throat, you want to take care of that voice, hit some of that Bangtail Whiskey. You'll feel good with it, too. I might have to have me a shot coming up tonight, too, as well, with all these allergies going on right now in December down here in Texas. We're coming back. We're going to talk about Made Me, the deluxe edition, a fantastic song called We Both Know off the album, too, which was a big, big song for Liddy here, too, as well. And while you're at it, at Christmas time, check out liddyclark.com because there could be something there for you, a T-shirt, a cap, or something like that, too, as well, to give to all the country music fans out there, too. A quick time out for our friends at Bangtail Whiskey in Honky Tonk, Texas. You're listening to the Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com and at KKTC True Country 99.9 and our friends at hightidecountry.net. Coming back. Stay tuned. Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
And back on the show, presented by Bangtail Whiskey and our friends at Honky Tonk, Texas. Liddy Clark joining us here on the Backstage Pass, again powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com and out there at 10 Mountain Time, syndicated on KKTC True Country 99.9 in Taos, New Mexico, and our friends up in Colorado, listening up there in Pueblo and Oklahoma City, hightidecountry.net. Again, the album Made Me is across all the digital platforms, and of course, the new single from Liddy out there, It's Christmas Time, across all those digital platforms too. Hey, the song We Both Know, you guys released as a single before this particular album, which I think, again, this is another fantastic album, really showcases your side as an artist, which I love on there. The songs Austin, Nothing Like New York, and Potential, and some of the singles that made this album, as well as Flood Zone, which I enjoyed listening to that one back in 2022. So a collection of the whole catalog of songs. And what a great way to put this album out called Made Me. Recap some of the highlights and then some of the singles that did well on their own, but have also done well in this album.
Yeah, no. So this album, the deluxe version of it has 17 songs, which is kind of crazy. It seems like something you don't really see a lot of these days, but I'm a songwriter, and so I write a ton of songs, and not necessarily all of them make the original version of the album, but the ones that were able to kind of sneak in for the deluxe version, I'm really excited that they were able to get in there, because I don't know if I would have released them in a future project. They feel just kind of attached to Made Me as a project as a whole. This whole album I wrote kind of in a 2 to 3 year period, right when I was starting college / ending high school and going through my gap year, where I went, and did a few different things for music at the time. I did a radio tour, which was super fun. And it's really an album. It's called Made Me because honestly, a lot of these songs, writing these songs and going through these experiences and living that has made me the person that I am today. And I can fully say that if I had not done a lot of the stuff that I did during this album process and wrote about it and made the friends that I did and had the relationships that I did, that I would not have had this work, of art that I have now. And I'm really proud of it. And I wrote, a lot of different songs about different things that I've gone through. And it's extremely personal to me, and being able to kind of craft the words around it and being able to craft the melody and everything has been super integral to who I am as a person. And I'm just so happy to have these songs out in the world. It's my first album, which is incredibly exciting. And yeah, just, getting to put out these singles has been cool as well. Getting to know like which songs fans are super, more into, other than, some others, kind of seeing like what the popular ones are with the fans has been interesting, because sometimes they're not necessarily the ones that I would have thought, would have blown up or done well. Like I always knew I really liked We Both Know, but I didn't think that was going to be like the single from the album. And I was like, oh, maybe it is, because it like kind of blew up on TikTok for a minute, and so that
Mhm.
was pretty cool.
I like that too. There's one on there, and I mentioned the title, but I got to dive into it too. The songwriting behind it, and of course, the storytelling. Nothing like New York. Let's dive into that one a little bit.
Yeah, so that one is pretty funny because I didn't originally write it for me to perform.
Mhm.
I wrote it for a songwriting class, and one of our projects was to we were assigned to a different, artist in the class, and they were like, write a song for this person. And I had this idea in my head, and I kind of went with it for this guy, and I'm not sure it exactly fit his style. I wasn't able to kind of capture that, but then I took
Mhm.
it and I was like, if I adjust a couple of things, I think this is a song that I would like to put out. And so then I did that, and it's not necessarily about a situation I've ever experienced, but it's kind of about the idea of, loving somebody and wanting to be with them, but then they have all these other goals and aspirations and things that just don't really line up with who you are as a person, and you would be sacrificing parts of yourself in order to make this relationship work, and it's not necessarily worth it to do that in order to make something work when you can't authentically be yourself. And I don't think I'm ever going to move to New York. That's probably a part of the song that's pretty true. So I can relate to that part, but I just writing songs about being authentically yourself and figuring out who you are and your values and
Mhm.
sticking by them no matter what the consequences might be.
And the titles of these two are just awesome because some of these you look back and you're like, these are just great titles for great country songs out there. And look, I've been to Los Angeles a few times, and if I could take this song and wrap it up into one and just kind of speak from the truth from this album, if there was no traffic in LA, yeah, I would love to second that motion, swing my gavel down, be a judge right there too, because I could get from one side to the other. And the way you told this story and you put it out there and expressed yourself in this song, please tell all the listeners about this because that had to come from the personal side of things, or at least a story behind it.
Yeah, so that one was a title that I wrote the song from a title because I had
Mhm.
that idea in my head. If there was no traffic in LA, that'd be a fun title. And it was during the time, it was my second year of college. I literally lived right off of the 110 freeway. Like
Mhm.
there was nothing between the building and the room I was living in and the highway, so I could hear everything going on at night. This was when I started to like wear earplugs to go to sleep, and
Mhm.
now I can't live without them. But anyways, just like hearing that traffic at night and hearing it go on all the time, it's just like it really makes you think like, wow, this is something like we talk about, maybe there could be a day when there's like not that much traffic in LA, but like, is there ever going to be a day there's not traffic in LA? I'm not sure. I feel like that's part of what Los Angeles is in general, is that there
Mhm.
is always a lot of traffic because there's a lot of things going on and
Mhm.
there's a lot of people and people are busy. And this song kind of takes that a little bit as a metaphor in a sense where, you're wishing for something that would be great if it could happen, but it just not in this universe. It's not going to happen in this universe. And sometimes, relationships don't work out the way that you want them to.
Mhm.
And you can wish as much as you want, but ultimately, like the nature of people, you can't change who a person is deep down at its core. Like my dad's always attributed it to being like, a large cruise ship. You can use like a tugboat to like pull it around a little bit, but you can't really change the course unless the tug or the big boat wants to change
Mhm.
course. And most people do not want to change because they do not see problems with themselves. So, it's what it is. And
Mhm.
Los Angeles, although she would be lovely without traffic, unfortunately, I do not think that will ever happen.
No, I'm with you. At least just can we just get one day of the week out of 7 would be great.
Believe me, the closest we ever got was COVID. Like the first few weeks after COVID started, it was
Mhm.
pretty empty and honestly kind of weird. It was like the grocery stores were closing early, the toilet paper
Mhm.
was gone. It
Yeah,
honestly still feels like a bit of a fever dream at this point. So
it does. A couple more off there too. Let's talk about this. This was again a single before it made the 17 songs of the album. Led Myself On.
yes, that one is a real story and
Mhm.
it's super fun. It wasn't fun going through it, but looking back, it's like kind of funny because I'm like, oh wow, like why was I into this person? I have no idea. But it was about kind of that period of my life where I was, just kind of dating around, just talking to a bunch of different people, not really taking anything too seriously. But then there was one person that I got an idea in my head. I was like, ooh, wouldn't it be so fun if like we actually dated and like things actually got serious? Because I actually started to really like this guy, but schedules didn't really align. I was super busy with music and everything. And so it was just like, it's fine. We can keep it casual. It's cool. No commitment. It's all fun. Like the fun, cool, chill girl vibe, which I am in a sense, but not in another sense. It's weird. But it's about, I wrote this experience after going to a Starbucks near campus on school, and I ended up seeing this guy there. I don't think he saw me because he never like told me that he saw me, but I saw him there and he had his arm wrapped around another girl, and I was like, oh, I don't like that. That doesn't make me feel good. And so I walked out of the Starbucks, and then I went into a different little bakery place nearby, and I ended up like going into a corner and like singing the chorus of this song of the and I like it's fixing yours out on her hips, and it just kind of all came to me at once, all of the lyrics and the melody and everything, and that's where it all kind of started from. And I went back later and wrote the verses, and I don't know if this guy even knows that I put this song out or if it's even about him, but it doesn't really matter. It's not really. I mean, it's about him, but it's more about me.
It's about you, no doubt. And you're right. You thought you had an idea. You might have an interest there, but hey, led myself on the perfect title there too, to a great song that made the cut out there too for the 17 songs on the album. Made Me, of course. And definitely check it out, LiddyClark.com. And of course, get you guys a lot of cool things for the holidays there, and pick up the album too. Give it as a stocking stuffer. I always tell people gift cards to me are the great things out there too. And since I have the subscription to Apple Music too, like they need a plug to at the same time, that's where I stream stuff from. Give someone that card and get them a Liddy Clark deluxe edition Made Me out there too while you're at it at the same time. We'll take a quick time out. Our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and of course Honky Tonk Texas coming back here, final segment. We'll talk some more music and then a little rapid fire. You never know what's going to come here from the questionnaire side of things here. KKTC True Country 99.9, also via the LMNOC broadcast streaming app out there too. Catch the show at 10 Mountain Time there as you're driving through weeknights and weekends there at the same time. And of course, HighTideCountry.net, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Coming back, final segment with Liddy Clark. Stay tuned.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And it's Christmas time, too, as well. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody out there. That's the latest single from Liddy Clark out there, LiddyClark.com. Make sure you guys go stream or download that wherever you stream or download music and get the numbers up even higher out there, too, to close out 2023. Appreciate you guys listening. KKTC, True Country 99.9, and via the LMNOC broadcast app, and, of course, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast.com, live on that website, and wherever you can find podcasts, you can find the Backstage Pass too as well. I got to ask you about this one because I thought this was another just great song title. That's what I really know that you're known for. And it was Till the Sun Breaks the Dawn. And man, this told a story of like, I can paint that picture in my head.
Yes, absolutely. It's definitely one of my wordier songs, which I also pride myself on having kind of a brand of just doing a bunch of run-on sentences over and over again in my songs. And also just when I talk in general, it's the mind is always going. The words are always coming to me. But Till the Sun Breaks the Dawn, that is a real story, but it's actually a real story of a friend of mine. And it's about, I went to a summer program back in like right before my senior year of high school. And it was like a month and a half long program where I was able to be kind of on my own for the first time, like even before college, and having like my own dorm space and my own friends and setting my own schedule and getting to like kind of experience a lot of independence in that way. And I made a couple of really great friends there. And one of them happened to find a bit of love while she was there. And then it didn't end up necessarily lasting super long after the program ended, just because, you know, they're in different places and they're from different places, and logistically it just didn't work. But even though logistically it didn't make sense, that doesn't mean that it wasn't real, and it wasn't something that they both felt and something that was true. And I think love is one of the most powerful things in the world, and being able to experience that is incredible and life-changing, and really changes who you are as a person. And I wrote this song essentially kind of recounting the story of like being young and falling in love and knowing that it's maybe not going to be a forever kind of thing, but truly like just loving the moment and experiencing it with an open mind, because, you know, even though it might end one day, at least it was beautiful while it lasted. So
I loved it too. There's the stories that continue on. And I got to ask you about this when I go on and on with the album, because I love it too. There's a lot of cool bonus tracks on there too. But Playboy, number 14 off this record too, was a bonus track. Just a lot of fun with this tune, that you really put some fun in that, just expressing those feelings in your music and just kind of taking some verses and having fun with them, right?
absolutely. Yeah, that's one song where if there's one thing men have, it's the audacity, and that is kind of the thesis of that song, where there's, you know, just a lot of really overconfident guys that think that they're, you know, Mr. 100, I don't know, like the best thing in the universe, and then when their bubble gets burst and you're like, actually, like, I'm not that into you, like, it's not that serious, man. And then they just like lose it, and they're completely upset and mad and like throwing things. And, you know, it's just talking about like, okay, if you're not going to be like somebody who's a normal human being that I can have a conversation with and doesn't have an insanely inflated ego, then like, I don't really want to talk to you, because I only want to deal with normal people who are able to bring themselves back down to earth. And that was another song that was the song title came to me first, Playboy. And I was like, that would be fun. But like kind of taking and twisting it, and like, if you can't play nice, I ain't never going to let you play boy.
I love that.
Always one of my favorite things in country music is the spin on words and the spin on titles and common phrases. And I love doing it in my music. So
you really do a great job of it too. Just having fun with lyrics and verses, and that's what songs are all about too, is making somebody feel something too, in the positive light too, and just having fun with something. And quit taking stuff, because the world takes stuff too seriously, as you know, and we just like to have a little fun with music out there too. Let's do a little rapid fire to kind of get, I guess, the closure on the show, because I know I'd love to have you back in 2024. You're always one of my show favorites to come on to as well. Christmas plans, traditions. Are you guys traveling? Are you staying home? What goes on at Christmas time?
Yeah, so right now I'm actually on a girls' trip with like one of my best friends from high school, and it's super fun. We're in Arizona right now, and we're about to go to Vegas. So that's kind of a tradition we've been starting for the past couple of years, and I think we'll be doing it for at least a little bit longer. And and then my parents live in St. Louis, so I'm going to be going home to Missouri for the holidays, and that's kind of a new experience, because I've never actually experienced Christmas in Missouri yet. They've just moved there years ago, and so I'm finally getting there for Christmas, and maybe it'll be a white Christmas. That would be sick. I've never experienced snow on Christmas that I've, you know, been able to remember. So
Texas, it does not snow down here once in the blue moon, but the white Christmas is something that is fantastic there. Speaking of the movies out there, what are some of your favorite holiday movies of all time? What did you grow up kind of watching?
Ooh, there's so many good holiday movies. It's like one of my favorite genres of movie when this time of year comes around. I love the Elf movie that came out with Will Ferrell, and I also really love the Home Alone franchise.
Oh yeah, they're good too.
Those movies are just classics. I also love I don't know, this is kind of a bit of a controversial take, but what's that movie called? Oh no. I'm drawing a blank, but it's the one that people are always like, that's a Christmas movie. And then other people are like, that's not a Christmas movie.
National Lampoon.
No, Christmas. It's the heist one. It's the one where they go and.
Oh, you're talking about, and now I'm gonna draw a blank when the heist movie.
Like, it's something that like usually would come straight to me, and I'm like, oh no.
Ocean's 11? No, it's no.
I was going to say Deadpool, but then I was like, no, that's not it.
There's a heist movie I can't think of right now. It was a little Christmas kind of flair to it as well.
Heist. I'm going to think of it immediately after this, and I'm going to be so mad. But anyways, there's a lot of really great Christmas movies.
There's a
I also really love the Holiday, which it's kind of like a rom-com Christmas movie. It has Jack Black in it, which was really funny. Yeah, I just love Christmas and the holidays and kind of the jolly spirit and people just loving each other. I think people need to love each other more. It's a really cruel world, and we should
Yes.
be nicer to people that we don't know.
Please,
So
please, please, please. Nice, being
really,
nice and courteous and respectful go a long way in this world too, as well. Love it so much. And now I'm going to draw a blank and look up the heist Christmas movie at some point. I want to say not Top Gun, it was something else, but I know along those same
no,
lines is what you're talking about
exactly.
too, as well. And it's just not. It's hitting me right now, and I hate when we can't think of things at the moment. We're
Yeah.
trying to think of them in that exact moment too. But if you do look it up there too, as far as food out there, holiday season, parents make something. Family makes something that's a dish that you really get into?
Yes. So there is one thing that my dad makes like every Christmas morning. He makes these like sausage roll things that have like the crescent roll dough, and then it also has like ground sausage in there mixed with like cream cheese.
Ooh.
And it's so good. It's like you eat one of them and like you're down for the day, but it's wonderful. We'll do that, and then we'll also have some coquito, which is basically spiked eggnog, and it's wonderful.
Ooh, I like
Absolutely
that.
perfect. You do your presents in the morning, you drink some coquito, you take an afternoon nap, and you're done for the day. So
That's the best ones out there too when it comes down to is those afternoon naps, especially after eating
yes,
all that great
yes.
food out there too. Hey, when it comes to toppings on a Liddy Clark pizza, what goes on a pizza for Liddy Clark?
Ooh, that's a great question. Honestly, I'm typically like a pretty plain like cheese girl, but if I'm
Okay.
gonna add something extra, it might be like garlic or like a barbecue chicken pizza. Honestly, I'm pretty into that. Like if
Ooh.
we're going crazy. I also just had a really great pizza last night that was a peach and prosciutto, which
Ooh.
very
Peach
good.
and prosciutto. Now that right there is something I would definitely get into as well, especially with the
Right?
peach and the prosciutto, that spicy kind of ham flavor, almost Canadian bacon that people love that too. It's a
Mhm.
great flavor of topping on a pizza too. Hey, do you
Yes.
remember the first song you ever sang live on stage? And it could be a cover.
Well, I don't remember actually doing it because I was very small, but I know
Hmm.
what it is because my
Okay.
parents were there and they were able to pass it along. But I remember in, gosh, how old was I when I was 7? Second grade, first grade? I can't remember. I was little. But that year when I moved from Texas, growing up in Texas originally and
Hmm.
then moving to South Florida, I wanted to make new friends. And then my grandma did like a whole genealogy project where she found out that we're very, very distantly related to Pocahontas from history. And that was really cool for
Ooh.
me because I loved the Disney movie Pocahontas and all the music from it. And so I decided to pay tribute to my great, 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 great removed aunt on this side that I would sing Colors of the Wind at my new school's talent show and be like, hey guys, look at my
Hmm.
ancestry. Isn't that cool? And then I sang it and I think I won like a prize or something at that
Hmm.
point. Not that big of a deal. I think there were maybe 15 kids in my class, but it was really exciting and I was really happy about it and being able to kind of just like sing on tune without necessarily having ever done any kind of vocal
Hmm.
lesson was really exciting. And my parents were like, yo, Liddy, you do you like singing? And I'm like, yeah. And then I just kind of kept going from there. I did a lot of musical theater growing up after that. And then I started to write my own music, which is kind of how I've ended up here.
I love that, which is great too. That's the great memories to have is something there. I was going to say, was that Christmas movie the heist one? Was it Die Hard?
Yes, yes, it
Okay,
was.
so Bruce Willis was in that, and I want to say that was back in. And it's funny how things when you're not thinking about it just comes
I
out.
know.
But I think that was made 1988. That if
It's
I
a great
remember that one,
movie.
it's a great
The only
movie. It
time I've
is.
ever watched it was Christmas. And I'm
Yeah.
like, of course it's a
And
Christmas
it's
movie.
it's
That
made a
makes
lot of
sense.
top 10 hits out there for when it comes to top 10
Yeah.
Christmas movies of all time. So I just
No, absolutely. I'm on team. It's a Christmas movie. Absolutely. I'll
Die
stand
Hard,
by
it's
it.
a Christmas movie. It is. Like I said, some people can have their own take on it too as well, but just a lot of
Absolutely.
cool stuff out there too. Hey, great to always catch up here on the show. Great to hear you're doing so well out there too. Enjoy the girls' trip and the vacation. Again, the album is Made Me, the deluxe edition across the digital platforms, and the newest tune is Christmas Time. One of her originals, Liddy Clark out there. Also visit liddyclark.com for more information, tour dates, merchandise coming up there as we close out 23 and welcome in 24. Thanks so much for being a part of my brand, and I look forward to doing this again. Hope you had a great time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to see what 2024 brings for all of us.
It'll be a good year, no doubt about it, too, as well. And, of course, we're
Yeah.
back tomorrow. Ray Scott on the program. And, of course, Wednesday, you might remember some songs from the 90s country called Matches, Sammy Kershaw. If I Didn't Have You, Me and You, Kenny Chesney, and a whole lot more out there. Hit songwriter Skip Ewing will wrap up the year for 2023. And, of course, keep listening through the holidays. We'll run a lot of the best of episodes of the Backstage Pass on hightidecountry.net and our friends at KKTC True Country 99.9. We'll play some Liddy Clark this week, too, as well, on the station coming up this week. Some of the songs they probably already have run. It's Christmas time, but we'll do it again. Coming up this week, the call-ins Wednesday and Friday with Shelly. And, of course, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from all of us out there, too, in podcast and radio land, too. Thanks to Bangtail Whiskey and our friends at Honky Tonk, Texas. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Ray Scott on the program Wednesday, Skip Ewing, and we wrap up 2023. Our thanks to Liddy Clark and her team. We'll talk to you guys on the flip side from all of us here at the Backstage Pass. Happy Holidays. Merry Christmas. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Happy holidays.